All right, we have a quorum. We can go ahead and start the meeting.
Okay, let's start the meeting at, I've got 5:30 for the Sustainability Commission meeting for February. And the first order of business is to do the roll call. And Sarah, would you do that, please?
Chair Lou,
I think she's
I am
muted.
present. I am present. Thank you.
Vice Chair Tack,
Here,
Commissioner Chris is absent. Commissioner Vasquez
Present.
and Commissioner Benson is absent. Why don't I go ahead and pull up the, see if I can find the agenda.
the next order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. So we can start that. Everybody join in. I pledge allegiance
I pledge allegiance
to the
to the
flag
flag
of
of the United States
States
of
of America,
America
To the
to
report.
the
and to the republic for which
for which it stands,
it
one
is
nation,
one nation,
indivisible,
under God.
with liberty and justice for all. The next order of business is public comments for items not on the agenda. And I don't see anybody in chambers. Sarah?
There's no one here. We'll give it a minute to see if anyone comes in.
So is the welcome new commissioner, is that postponed or is that?
No, it's not. Commissioner Vasquez is present tonight.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon?
Yeah, I apologize for not making it last meeting, but yes, we'll be present here today and we'll be present for forthcoming.
Okay,
Good afternoon and welcome.
Thank you.
okay, and then we review the minutes of the January 23rd meeting. Is there any additions, corrections, or modifications that anybody has seen for those? If not, I make a motion that we accept the January 23rd minutes as presented. I need a second.
I second.
Okay,
I'll do a roll call vote.
well, then we vote.
Yep, Chair Lou,
Approved.
Vice Chair Tack,
Approve.
Commissioner Chris is absent. Commissioner Vasquez, would you like to abstain?
Approved.
And Commissioner Benson is absent.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is discussion items, the outreach plan. I'll turn that over to you, Sarah.
Yeah, we have the outreach plan is part of the actual 2022 sustainability plan. So in a sense, it's already been approved. We're just getting started on it now. It wasn't approved with any kind of detail, and we needed to get the plan and our last annual work plan put together before we could really look at a second plan, which was the outreach. I did ask Tara Bravo from CV Strategies to be here tonight. She does the really well done work for the city of Indio in general, and she can give us some ideas and insight and as we talk about some of the things that you might want to do in the outreach plan. I did send out some information on it, and I did receive some feedback from some of the commissioners already on some of the things you want to do. I'm going to pull up Chair Lou's, what she had sent in, and maybe we'll start the conversation there. So one of the things that she had to begin with was to create the report and a website for the Sustainability Commission. One of the things that I think is a little different about what I understand some of the commissioners would like to do, especially for you, Tara, is that we're looking for, they've been trying to get a little more feedback and a little more just advisory sort of feedback from residents and so forth. And they want to do a lot, certainly a lot of informational outreach to let people know what we're doing, but also to be able to have some feedback as well. And one of the things that we thought about was having a website or a web page on the website. I know that through some of our older outreach, 1383 and so forth, there are always some ways to connect. For instance, there's a contact button on it, and that usually comes through you and over to me. And we'd like to do something, at least in a web page, that might help with some of that feedback and some of that outreach. That was one of Commissioner Liu's work plans for the outreach plan. Chair Liu's, sorry. There was also some talk or some idea about having a community advisory program. And then there's also some outreach that we need to do that's sustainability related, but not necessarily specific to the Sustainability Commission. And I'd like to get some feedback from the commissioners on that as well. And that is the Clean California Grant has a lot of beautification outreach and anti-littering, and how that might fit into this. If you'd like to talk about that a little bit. I think that covers what I have received so far. So would you guys like to go ahead and talk a little more about those ideas?
I also potentially have a presentation of what's been done. So maybe the Sustainability Commission might want to see that, and also some initial next steps that I would love to implement based on both this feedback. And I know that you and I have talked a lot about what outreach might be going on in the next few months. So I thought that might be a nice little kind of bridge maybe before discussion, if that's okay.
It's fine.
Fantastic. Okay, let me start my presentation. So I wanted to start with something really pretty because that's what we're protecting. One of the things I wanted to highlight was the anti-litter bus shelter that we've put out that's currently on Jackson Street. So really showcasing those particular elements as part of the litter outreach and the business beautification program, or the beautification program for Cal Recycle. And then in addition, and I know Sarah hasn't seen this yet, but we're about to send it over to her. The anti-litter poster contest is designed and ready to be sent out to schools. We'll have this in English and Spanish. So wanting to hit a bilingual audience, we're suggesting that the deadline be March 31st. So we get this out throughout all of the month of March. And then April, we would design the calendar for May distribution. Cleanup has been a success so far. So looking at the cleanup, the trash pickup, weeding, and painting, and we know that there are 2 more potential cleanup days that are on the horizon. So these are the lights, camera, community action. So super excited about that piece. And then this is, Sarah was talking about the microsite pieces that we've done. So wanted to show you what one of those might look like. And after I do kind of get through the rest of these slides, I'm going to go ahead and take you to the foodware, Indio Organics. So you can see how we're building out this sustainable resource online. And then finally, these are the things that we think might come next. And we wanted to look at opportunities to not have additional costs to the city. So taking the digital frame on I-10 freeway, which we can rotate out at any time. So really layering that anti-litter message. And then social media posts and polling to get more community interaction and to provide the commission with additional feedback from the community on what they would like to see and participate in, and then highlighting that poll and what's going on with sustainability in a special section in the What's on Center Stage monthly newsletter for the city that goes out to approximately 8,000 people. Then if we do have, I know we have like a tiny budget. So looking at some digital advertising, specifically with media placements that we're targeting local residents in terms of what they might need to do next in terms of making their city both sustainable and beautiful, not just today, but also tomorrow. Finally, we have handouts that we would love to place in easy access areas like the teen center, the senior center, and the library, and of course, City Hall. And then potentially leveraging the Indio Chamber of Commerce to help us with business outreach to ensure that we're leveraging that connection and partnership as well. So that's really quickly kind of the high level. And wanting to show the website. So let me share that website so you can see that as well. And share screen. So I'm just going to reload this so you can kind of see how everything animates in. So pretty active, except, and then you have all the disposable plastics. So you can see the general aesthetic of the website, how it works, how this all might be expanded upon into a Indio Organics overall concept, and maybe just something that says Indio Sustainability so that we can build out this particular portion of the microsite and then actually expand it into a larger platform for all things sustainable in Indio. So that's what I've got, and I'm really excited to hear what you guys have to say and what your ideas are as we continue to move forward.
Okay, Sarah, you're looking for comments from the commissioners at this point?
I sure am. That would be great. Thank you.
I can't hear you very well, Sarah.
Yes, this would be the time for comments for your
Okay.
ideas and what your thoughts are on what Tara has presented.
Okay. Do we have any comments? Morgan, are you have any comments?
Sorry,
Welcome.
hi, thank you. Sorry, I came in late. I apologize.
That's okay.
And what I saw looks great. I've one quick question I came up, and I apologize if this was addressed. I saw when I came in, you were talking about the trash cleanup that was going on, the success of that. I noticed, I read somewhere that Disneyland did a study and they figured out that every 12 feet they put a trash can because that's what their study determined to be the most optimal position of trash cans in the park. And Disneyland is notoriously known for having a very clean property. And I'm not saying Indio's Disneyland or should be Disneyland by any means, but what are we doing to put more trash cans in more places to alleviate street trash? And I mean, this may not be the topic for that, but since I saw that came up in your presentation, that maybe that's something you can address. Thanks.
Actually, Tara, I might be able to take that
That's you.
Yeah,
We talked about having more trash cans and recycle cans before, and the main issue that came up was that they need to be emptied, and there's a lot of work that goes into maintaining them. So what we did was we purchased the Big Belly waste containers that are smart, and they call if they're full, and so they don't overflow, and they don't necessarily take any more time than the crews actually need to go out and take care of them. So part of the Clean California grant will be 6 more of the Big Bellies there. Plus, we have the AB 939 funding, so we will be purchasing more Big Bellies. And that's what we'll be rolling out. They're expensive. They're a little bit time consuming because we do want to have an artwork on them and make them as aesthetic as we can to add as much as we need to. Another good thing about the Big Bellies is that they don't necessarily have to be trash cans thrown out around the city, but they can actually add to some of the aesthetics and the beautification. So they have to be designed and then purchased, and it takes a bit of time to do, but we are working on that, and we will be increasing the number of Big Bellies throughout the city throughout the year.
are we increasing anything in the street sweeping?
I don't know. I can ask. I'll find out.
Okay, you remember a couple of months ago, we were gonna get a map and a timetable of when they were sweeping what streets?
Yes, I remember Terry, and Terry then moved on, and so I'll have to put in that.
Because that goes hand in hand with what Morgan was saying, but we need more containers, but we also need to clean the streets up too.
Yep, I'll go ahead and ask that again. Put in that.
Okay, great, thanks.
Thank you for answering that. And Tara, it was a great presentation. I'm sorry that my question got off your presentation.
Yeah,
As long as we're solving the problems, it's fine if my presentation, apparently it answered the questions.
I do like that your part about using the sign at the I-10 Auto Mall. It's highly visible, so it'd be great. Thanks.
Absolutely.
I have 2 questions. This is Commissioner Liu. Thanks for the presentation. The first one is, for me, I kind of start at the beginning, and we're going down, we're sort of going down programmatically, drilling down programmatically to the waste, which is only one component of our sustainability plan. And my question is, do we not have the funds to build out a sustainability website at this time?
So the funds are a question for Sarah, because I don't know the answer, but I know that one of the ideas that I presented and have in this presentation is that we take and leverage the work that we've done to build out an entire sustainability website, but I don't know where the budget numbers are for this year versus next year. So that's on you, Sarah.
Right now, the answer would be no. So it might be worthwhile if we're going to, if some of the new work plan elements, not just the outreach plan, end up needing to have some kind of budget, that we bring the new plan with the outreach plan and its costs on more of a fiscal year schedule rather than a calendar year schedule, and then we can ask for it. Why not? And then, if it gets approved, it does. And if it doesn't, then we scale it down or we work on something else. But right now the answer is no, but I think that at least a website is a good idea. And so, or a web page. So, and we can leverage the work that's already done. So I don't think it would be a huge amount of money. And I think that if that's what's important to you and you'd like to see that there, then we should make it as part of the plan and then bring it with a budget request in June.
I think it's very important that the plan be available in some format other than the minutes of the meetings, because you to find the sustainability plan at the moment, you would have to know which meeting it was voted on, and then go and find the agenda, and then go and find the attachment, and that is not good. So we need to have it separated. Even if we can't find a new website, we need to look at some of the other websites, perhaps where they have the corporate climate, not the CC, the Sustainable Cities Plan, or some of those other plans, and add it to one. If we can't afford a brand new website, at least modify one or more of the other pages within the city so that the plan can be found just by Googling it and pulling it up.
Yeah.
But right now, you can't find the plan.
So was the intent to put it in What's New in Indio, which reaches the 8,000 people you were talking about? So see, that's a pretty active, that email is a pretty active email with multiple pages and multiple things. So that, I think that would be a good start.
That would be one place, but it should be on a permanent website, not something that disappears. Like if you miss, I think some of the instance-specific means of communication, like that one, and the going to the, partnering with the chamber and so on, are really good, but we do need a permanent.
Well, it could be a link in that What's News. It could be a link to the city's website, which could have sustainability in it. So I think we ought to pursue that, because if we don't have a budget for independent, well, then let's try to link it to the city's website.
Yeah, that was my point. Link it to an existing web page, not necessarily something that is dated. Like right now, you have to know the specific date. So if we just put it in a newsletter that goes out once and is gone for, after 30 days or something, then someone comes back later, they can't find the sustainability plan. So I don't know that would cost that much money for someone to update the web, one of the existing web pages with that information. But apart from that, it sounds pretty good. What is there? That's my thought on it. Also, the other ideas that I passed along, I don't know, Sarah, if those went to our CV strategies folks or myself. Any ideas that myself or the other commissioners passed along, are those being forwarded to them, or?
Some of the outreach, I think that I have not forwarded it to them. I thought we'd talk about it tonight.
Okay.
I think that we've covered a lot of it. I can pull it up again.
Yes, please do. There were a couple of other suggestions. They were listed as new. It differentiated between what was new and what was continuing. So the advisory program, that would be something for perhaps a future date. If there are citizens, especially young folks, that might want to be involved in that, I guess we could ask them. For example, there's a youth advisory committee right now that assists the city council. They serve as part of the city council, and maybe even getting a survey from them on what are their thoughts about sustainability. And then the incentive, I don't know if the other commissioners had any thoughts on that, having an advisory program. I hear nothing. I hear nothing, so I guess that means that there's no one in favor of that idea. And update on progress, support sustainability events and distribute information at events electronically. You know, just to provide ongoing updates, you know, if we had a website. So that's more towards the other ones. And then, as you said, Sarah, you said the outreach plan was already developed. So, yeah, I guess those are the recommendations. And I don't know on the old work plan items. Well, we're just talking about outreach now. So there are a couple. The ones with the asterisk are the outreach items. So I'll leave it at that. But okay.
Okay. Looks good.
Right, and I know that this is the first time that a lot of you are seeing some of this information, so there may not be a whole lot of discussion tonight, but if you think of anything, please go ahead and email me at any time.
Okay.
Okay, I think for the outreach, Tara, and we can talk a little bit offline after the meeting. I think that we have a good idea of what they'd like to do. And I think that there's a good chance we can do, if not these things, at least part of this in a way that we can work in some of the things we're already doing and keep it reasonably priced and be able to get actually quite a bit of this done.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
Okay, that's it unless anyone has any more comments on the outreach.
No, looks good.
All right, I believe the next thing is the actual 2023 annual work plan.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Tara.
All right. I didn't receive any more ideas for the work plan next year from except what's listed on here. So if anyone has any ideas of what projects they want to do next year or something they want to see done, this is absolutely a great time to talk about it. Other than that, Chair Lou, you have a couple of new things on here that aren't necessarily outreach. I mean, certainly continuing to do the things that we've worked on so far. The update on the progress toward the water, I would like to see if I can get a commitment from IWA to present to us instead of yearly, maybe quarterly. And that might help us keep up on top of that and see what more we might be able to do to support the efforts that they're doing, or maybe they can support us. But I'll try and get like a quarterly update commitment from them if they can do that.
I'm sorry, Sarah, what was that about water? Can you explain that? I'm not too sure what you're talking about.
Sure. Under 2311, it's a new update on progress toward SB 606 and AB 1668, SB 555, and the California Water Code. There were a lot of new water legislative activities in the last couple of years as well, including, I think they were working on trying to have a specific amount of water use for certain households. I mean, they're not going to cut off the water. I don't want to make it sound like that, but they're trying to make water sustainability something that isn't just during drought times, so that we're working on basically permanent water reduction in the things that we do and how we use them at home. And so those became active law, and I'm not sure how those are moving on. And I haven't asked for updates from IWA except basically once a year or so. So I think that I would ask them for updates on some of these water legislative progress from them, maybe quarterly instead of once a year.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be good because I'd be interested to see how many of those reduced flow shower heads and the valves and the screens that they hand out. And then also what they're doing on the electronics for the rain birds that automatically shut the sprinkler system off when it rains. So
So
interesting to see what those numbers are.
I'm not too sure if this is I think this is related, so I'm going to bring this up if I may. I've been doing a lot of work this past year in Nevada and spent a lot more time there and kind of seeing what's going on there. And because of their water situation, they've got a lot more water restrictions going on. They monitor water much closely than we do here. And one of the things they do there that I thought I'd like to bring up to the commission and have the commission make a serious look and have the city make a serious consideration for this is pretty much getting rid of all green space that is not unnecessary, because that can make a big dent in water consumption. Most of us who live in single family homes know that the majority of our water usage goes to our gardens more so than it does to ourselves personally. And I know in the past I've brought up places like Cape Town, South Africa, that had a near zero water usage plan in place because of their drought situation a couple of years ago. And I'm trying to be proactive here, and maybe it's time to discuss the city of Indio being very I guess I'll use proactive again as the term, to get rid of our lawns and go to desert landscape and maybe move into having water enforcement for sprinklers being going off too much and for overspraying and going down the drain and stuff like that, so we can really cut back on our water usage. And something similar to what goes on in Nevada. Is that something maybe we can either discuss today or at a later date? Is that related to this possibly?
It is. It's not a conversation that I can particularly say what they are doing and what they aren't. They're the experts on that. I think the best thing to do would be to have them come here and let us know what they're doing, and then you can kind of talk to them about what they're doing, you know, as you said, in Nevada, and see kind of their thoughts on that. They would be the ones who would, if it goes forward, take it forward. So I will bring them here. I'll ask them to come.
So I think waters is something that this committee focuses on, focus on a lot of things. And Sarah, you and your department focus on a lot of things. And I'd like to see us kind of really laser focus on a few top items that will make a difference in our community and maybe be leaders in the Coachella Valley and have other neighboring cities follow our lead. And this could be one of them. I know with the negotiations going on with the Colorado River, from what I've been seeing in media about that now the federal government's getting in because the 7 states that are involved in the Colorado River cannot make an agreement of how to use the water and to partition the water to themselves. And that may not affect us. It does affect us, I think, directly. It does affect more Imperial Valley than us, but I think it does affect us. And any less water being given to us from the Colorado River means more water we're going to draw from our aquifer, and it takes years and years and years and years for replenishing aquifer. So the less water we use now, even though we are in a drought situation, and even though we're not in a drought situation, less water we use, the better off we are short-term and long-term. So I think this is something I think we should definitely focus on and maybe be a leader in the Coachella Valley.
All right, that sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So those were, and that's on the plan to be more proactive on, or that's what our Chair Lou has put for a new, something new on our work plan, is to be more proactive on those regulations and water regulations. So we'll work with IWA a little more closely if we can, and keep that moving forward. The other thing was to get updates from IID on greenhouse gas electricity reduction incentive programs. IID has quite a few programs, and I don't hear too much of it. What I'd like to do is go ahead and invite them here and talk about let us know what some of their programs are. And then maybe talk about whatever partnerships that we could do. So I think that's a great thing to add to the plan, and we'll ask IID to come and possibly tell us about what they're doing, kind of like water, and then see how we can partner and come up with any kind of ideas or partnerships if they come here. So I have that on my list. The advisory program, we can talk about a little more if you like, and I'm going to work with Tara for the website or the web page. And then the last thing would be some of the outreach that we're going to be working on soon for California. Clean California Grant will be a pretty good campaign for litter. And I'd like to bring some of that information and that outreach to you for some comments before we send them all out. So to be more involved with the beautification outreach if we can, certainly the litter, that's all covered through that grant. So that would be a great thing for this, I think, commission to work on as well. And again, that was, I think, the last thing that I got from everyone. So are there any more ideas for the work plan for 2023, or do you want to talk about it a little bit more, or do you want me to go ahead and start writing this up for next meeting?
I think I'd go ahead and start writing it up. I think we've got a lot on our plate.
There were a number of administrative updates as well. For example, updating for the administrative updates.
Yep, you're right. I'm sorry, I didn't cover that.
Go ahead, Sarah. I'll let you go ahead.
For the updates to verify that the plan meets new regulations and local conditions, and I feel like we do that pretty well. The new regulations are, I mean, they come from everywhere, AQMD,
Mhm.
recycle, and I think we're pretty good about getting those notices, and it takes a little while for them to come into effect. And we have some time to work through them. So I think maybe we could list them because there are quite a few. It's just in the last 2 years or so. Maybe that could be listing them might be help with the administrative of understanding part of why we do and where to focus. We are going to create the 2023 work plan. And I did say I would put milestones and timelines on that. It might be a little wonky this year because if we do need to work on getting any kind of a budget, then we will have to wait until June. So I can go ahead, actually, I can write it up. There's plenty that we can do before we need the things that we need budget approvals on. And then we'll kind of go from there. We'll do it that way. I'll bring it back next month. Funding opportunities. There are several of those, and I don't send them out to you all the time. So I think it might be worthwhile having a way of tracking the funding opportunities because I don't necessarily work on all of them. We don't necessarily, come through this commission. A lot of them are done just straight through engineering, like adding bike lanes and things like that. But I can at least keep everyone more aware of what's going on. The website for sure. And then going to council every 3 or 4 months. So we'll have to once we bring the 2023 work plan up, we'll look at the milestones and see, when's a good time to take it to city council once we hit some of the milestones. We talked about the sustainability report and the website. We're working on that. And IID does the shade tree giveaways. They've done one with us. It was kind of a very quickly impromptu their trees they needed to be given away in literally 2 weeks. And so there wasn't any time to really do any outreach. We just basically gave them a place. But we also talked about having them do another tree giveaway at the corporate yard. So on March 25th, they'll be doing another one. We have put that into the IWA bills, and I really would like them to come here and talk about some of the things that they're doing so that we're on top of what they're doing as well and be able to partner with them better. SoCal Gas, another great partner to invite. We'll put these down, IID, SoCal Gas, and so forth, as if we can, to have them invite them so that we can partner with them. We're going to work on the outreach plan, and I think most of the other things are continuations of what we're doing now, because we didn't check everything off the list. Yeah, I think that's where we are. So we'll I'll incorporate these milestones, maybe do a list of folks that we will want to invite and hear from, send all of that out. And then if you have more, again, between now and the next meeting, just please email me whatever thoughts you have, concerns, ideas for the next plan. That would be great. And that's all I have for this item. And mostly a lot of that work really came from Chair Liu. So just.
Okay, then we move to the zero waste then?
Yep, that's just updates right now.
Okay,
Chair Liu did get her certification. So she got past me. I've finished the program. I still need to take the test and pass and get certified. So we're working on that. Right now, I'm talking a little bit to the senior center to see if they might be interested in being the pilot. I don't know that we're going to be able to have a pilot at this point. So right now we're just doing updates. I'm trying to figure out what would be the best way to do that, how much support they're going to need. And, but we have not nailed down a place or a city facility to do the pilot yet. But that is moving along.
Do you have other places besides the senior center you're talking to, or is it just focusing mostly on the senior center?
We talked to a couple and it came down to the senior center. It doesn't mean that, I didn't talk to all the facilities. The corporate yard is complicated. It's where we have the water facilities and public works out of, and City Hall might be another opportunity if the senior center doesn't work. One of the reasons I kind of focused on that and the teen center is that I thought they might be interested more. It might be a little easier to get volunteers who would be interested in supporting it, and that would be kind of what I'm really looking for. From what I've learned from the certification is that, there's a lot of record keeping and a lot of things that you have to look up and manage and do some audits, and all that can be done through a consultant. Much of it can, if you have someone who will point you out to where you can find the records and things like that. But a big part of it, I think, is having buy-in at facilities. And so having those volunteers to work and be a part of that is I think going to make or break the program. So that's why I started there. Commissioner Liu, you have your.
Yeah, I just would volunteer that if you want to set up some meetings with, I'm happy to come down and meet with you. And I think the teen center sounds like a lot of fun. It'd be a lively venue, or at least hope so. And, at least folks who are perhaps a little bit more enthusiastic, we could engage some of the users of the center I don't know, or is it just the staff? But I'd be happy to come down if you set up meetings on some Fridays and meet with you and some of the administrative folks. It's primarily going to be the procurement, the building folks, and yeah, whoever manages the facility, and perhaps one or two key people. So if you'd like me to come down, let me know. Thanks.
I might just take you up on that. Let me see if I can get a little further, gauge a little more interest, and then I would love to have you come down actually, because with both of us having gone through the program, we can answer a lot more questions, I think, if we work together. So I'll keep you updated on that. I don't have anything else for the True Zero Waste certification updates.
Sorry,
Okay, then we'll move to the electric vehicle.
actually, I have one last quick question about the zero waste, if you don't mind. So if you cannot get the senior center or the teen center, what happens then if you cannot find a pilot program?
Then we're going to have to decide whether we want to move forward without a pilot program.
Have you given any thought to the historical museum?
No, I hadn't.
Got a lot of volunteers there.
So I just want to be clear about this. So the proper way to move forward on the True Zero Waste certification program is volunteers get certified, as you and Commissioner Lou have done or doing. You're still in the process. And then we have a pilot program. And then after the pilot program, we institute the program across the city to the appropriate entities. Is that correct?
We offer it to them. The idea of doing the pilot program is that we know what we're asking for them to do. We know what kind of commitment they need, and we're able to answer their questions and things like that. So that was the purpose of the pilot program, so that we're really, when we roll it out, if we do, that it's something we really know about.
Right. It's kind of a soft opening, kind of a practice run type thing. So wouldn't it be something that we would need to, if we could not get somebody an organization or group to be involved in the pilot program, and I'm not trying to poo-poo anything about this program, but wouldn't that be a small indication that we will have even a more difficult time getting more people involved, more groups involved in this program if we move forward on it? Like, I'm a glass half full, be prepared for it. Like, I'm a full glass guy, but be prepared for being a half full type of person. So if the pilot program, my kind of point is this, I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I'm trying to get my words straight. Is if we can't get a pilot program going on, then should we not reassess, or should we not try to figure out why we couldn't get a pilot program going on? And would we run into the same problems in implementing it over the city? Does that make sense?
It does. The one caveat that I have considered is that, it's time. It's time to make the commitment to do this. And having someone come on board to support the program would make this pilot program a lot easier to do at one of these facilities. Here's your consultant. Work with the consultant and, push the kind of leadership credits that they have for the program, so that does bring people on board. The problem with doing it at a city facility or one facility is that it's a fairly small ask. I haven't tried, but it might be something that that I should look for, or I could look for. It's the next step in trying to get a pilot program going. It's like, okay, we'll try and bring somebody on board now. We could do that with the AB 939 funds, but if we did it kind of in a group with a few more, not many more, even just like 4 facilities, that makes it a little more worthwhile to a consultant. But we can see if if we can do it for one facility. If we could get that help, I think it would be a big deal in getting the pilot program for the city going.
Okay, thank you.
And
Okay.
that's all I have for.
So now we can move to the electric vehicle.
Yes, so this is the last thing, and my job was to bring back the staff report this time, and there's no staff report, and that is because we identified a facility. We talked about it last time, and we're kind of going through between the grid EV chargers and the solar EV chargers, but the city would like to have EV chargers at the corporate yard. And at the corporate yard is an electrical box right in the parking lot. And it's not even like City Hall where they had to dig to the other end of the parking lot and then put in a grid charger. This one is right there where the parking spaces are. It's probably, it may be the only city facility where a grid powered solar charger makes total sense, because the costs with the electrical box there really won't, they won't be astronomical compared to other places where we're really going to have to dig and dredge for so far to get to a box and then put in a electrical or an EV, a grid charger versus a solar charger. So because it has that opportunity, I think that I would like to write the staff report as a grid charger. And I tried to get some prices for it, but I couldn't get the prices nailed down, which is why I don't have a staff report. I can write the body. You've pretty much seen the body in the last why we need EV chargers, but without the budget for it, it's really, I need prices, and at this point, I'm just not getting them. And we knew that if we went with the grid chargers, that the process would be way longer. I didn't expect it to take this long, but I know that there are some new funding opportunities right now for EV chargers. And I don't know if that's what's slowing it down, or if it's just supply chain issues as it's been for a while. But as soon as I get some numbers, then I'll send the staff report out.
Okay, great. Okay, if we're done with the discussion items, then we can move to commissioner comments. Any commissioners with any comments they'd like to add?
I just like to state again, I think I'd like to see us focus on some stuff that can have some hard metrics that can make some big differences. Water, power, and trash, I think are great top three that we could focus on, that actually is visible by our citizens and people coming into Indio. If we can get people's water bills down, if we can get people's power bills down, and we can increase more power and get more business in here into the city, and it's sustainable power, I think that would be a great selling point for the city and to make our city better and get more people in here, living here, and creating and having creating revenue and income. As far as we're talking about a website, I don't know, maybe a standalone website, but something with the city's website. I like to see everything in one place, so that if somebody is sitting at home and they want to find out what's going on with the city, they can go to the city's website and it's all there, linked through there and easy to find through there. I think that's something to think about with whatever web stuff we're doing outside of social media, because it stands to reason that if somebody is looking up something city related, they're going to go to the city website first, or it's going to be their second or third choice. So something that's connected to their, so maybe that's a way to approach the website that we were talking about earlier, is have it tied into or improve the Indio City website, so that makes it more user friendly to find stuff. Because as Commissioner Liu said, that website's not the easiest to get around to find stuff. So, and that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Okay, so Sarah, when you bring Indio Water in, well, then we can maybe on the outreach part, we can complement their turf removal program and highlight the dollar amount per square foot, and then also the bubblers versus sprayers. So I think that's all part of that outreach that we can do.
Yeah, I would add that and to just tag on to what Commissioner Benson said in terms of getting focus and you know, showing some accomplishments. I think that kind of goes back to, at least in my mind, it kind of goes back to the idea of different, you know, want of us focusing on different things. For example, I don't want to start any rumors here, but we talk about price of electricity, and I used to live in Palm Desert and La Quinta, and let me tell you something, we have a pretty good price compared to what I had to pay there because it was not IID. That said, I want to make sure that we retain IID as our service provider. So I don't know who's keeping an eye on that, or, you know, who we need to talk to or who we need to lobby, but someone perhaps needs to start focusing on that if that's our, you know, part of our mission, our mandate, our work plan. So the mechanics of that, you know, Sarah, you can guide us on that, or if any of the other commissioners have an idea. But perhaps when the final work plan comes back to us next week, if we can identify which commissioners are going to start doing background work on which ideas, whether it's the water. I do know some of the folks, I've talked to the folks in the Coachella Valley Water Counts Academy. There's a lot of action going on around water, but I can't focus on everything at all the time, nor can anyone else here. So perhaps if we can just identify leads on different programs, we can make more headway. If anyone else has any thoughts on how to add emphasis and get those results that Commissioner Benson was saying, please feel free, but that's mine at least. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any more commissioner comments? Okay, sir, we're down to staff items. Do you have any?
There are no staff items tonight.
Okay. Do we have any other business that we need to before we adjourn? Any comments, anybody? Okay. I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting then. And the next meeting is March 27th, 5:30. Okay,
I'll second the motion to adjourn if anyone needs to do that. Thank you.
okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You have a good night. Stay safe.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you.